let's talk about why you're not writing and how we're going to change that. I'm Emily B. Riddle. I am a romance indie author, and I'm here to talk to you about not only writing books and reading romance, but also living your best rom-com lifestyle. If anyone can speak into not writing books, it's me, because I was not writing them for most of my life. I was writing them technically, but I was keeping it to myself. I was not sharing my work, and I was not treating it seriously as something that mattered to me. Not that it needed to be something that was heavy or scholarly, but just that I didn't behave like I loved writing and I couldn't wait to write because that's what I was being called. And I was not heeding that call. So I get it when you are coming from a place of, I'm not doing this, because I was not doing this for so long. And I can say with absolute confidence, life got better when I started writing. I like writing fiction. I like writing romance. And when I recognized that about myself and decided I was going to write at least a little bit almost every day, my life changed because I changed. I became somebody who was following through on her creativity and who was nurturing this passion. And it made me, if you can believe it, a more pleasant person to be around. And then it benefited the people around me. So let's talk about the 4 reasons that I would suggest that you are not writing and how we can fix that. I would definitely stick around for the last one because I think this is the one people rarely address when they discuss writing and what keeps people from doing it. And I think it's the most important reason. I'll just say it. I think it's the most important reason. So stick around and we'll get into why it is you're not writing and what we can do to change that. Number 1 reason you might not be writing. It's a boogeyman. We're going to get it out of the way now because I highly doubt this is the problem, but we're going to share it. We're saying it. We're doing it anyway. You're not ready. Maybe there's a chance you're not ready. It genuinely could be you are at a place in your life right now where you have 0 time to do any kind of writing. And I don't know all the reasons that could be true for you. I just know it could be true. And I'm not here to yuck your yum and tell you you have to do it anyway. I think it's stressful when people want to tell us that they had to dig in and roll their sleeves up and commit to the bit because that's how it gets done. It is also a little bit true. And still there are times when you cannot write. I know when I have been in particularly emotionally stressful times, I can't write. There's just not a well to tap into, or at least I can't write fiction. So that's my thought. If this is a time where you are too busy or there is some sort of emotional stress or trauma or life challenges that are keeping you from being able to sit down for even a few minutes every day to work on something like your novel, at least do your best to try and journal. Journal a little bit. If you journal a little bit every day, I think there's something it does. It gets your creativity working. It gets your brain thinking that way, especially if you're handwriting it. There's something a little bit magic about it. I'm backing this up with 0 science. This is sheer anecdotal. This is me saying to you, without necessarily bringing you facts and evidence, that in my experience, even journaling does a lot to just keep the well going. And then when you are in a place to write, you've already got this experience of like, well, I journal a little bit every day. Maybe I use that time. I write this mystery. I write this romance. I jump into this historical fiction that could possibly change the world. I think maybe there's a small chance you don't have time. And if that's the case, peace be with you. Don't worry about it right now. But do see if there are ways you could bring writing into your life as you're navigating this period in time. Reason number 2. And we all do it. We all do this. You're not alone. If this is how you feel, you are not alone. You want a book and you say, I have no time to write a book. I have no ability to write a book. I have no experience writing a book. You're not writing a book. You're writing a little segment, a tiny, tiny portion of what might prove to be a chapter of what could eventually end up being your novel. But you are not writing a book, okay? Take it off. Take all that stress off. You're writing a little segment of a bigger chunk that could become a chapter, that could fit in with other chapters, that one day makes a complete story. Do not approach this like you need all of the answers or all of the information or all of the experience when you haven't done this yet. It's your first time. So take a breath and recognize you are not writing a book. You're writing a little tiny fragment of a story that could one day lead you to a book. But you don't have to do it all now, okay? You're doing so good, and you don't have to do it all now. Reason number 3, you might not be writing. We are knocking these out because truthfully, they don't deserve this much time. We need to hear this information, we need to consider it briefly, and then we need to get started. And that's a part of reason number 3. You're not writing the book you have inside of you because you don't believe you know what you're talking about. What I am saying is you know stuff. You know stuff. I know you know stuff. If you are like me, you're someone sitting at a later age in life. You've done some things. In my case, when I put my first book out, I had been to college. I had lived in a few different places. I had been married. I had had a baby. I got a divorce. I was a single mom for several years. I dated as a single mom. I fell in love with my now husband. We got married. We had a baby. COVID happened. Do you need me to go on? Because this is your experience too. Not exactly what mine is, but you have done things. You have stories you can share. Now we're talking about fiction. I'm not getting into memoir. I mean, go. I love a good memoir. Please, if you have one, drop it in the comments. I want to find it and read it. You are a rich fountain of experience, lived experience that you can bring to your writing. And while I love a precious baby angel who at 25 has put out a novel that is on the New York Times bestseller list, and Jenna Bush Hager is sharing it in her club. I mean, that is the dream, right? We love this. And yet also, there is something so beautiful about women who are older writing stories, especially when they're writing stories from their lived experience, that are just threading through the story, right? You're just running it through your book. You don't have to talk about yourself or your own life, but you bring that richness with you. You have things to say. You absolutely have a voice, and it needs to be expressed. If you are feeling the call, you need to be listening. Usually by the time we're feeling it, it's like dehydration. Remember the thing about by the time you feel dehydrated, it's too late. You needed to drink water a long time ago, right? I feel like that's true with creativity. By the time you really feel that creative urge, you've been sitting on it for much too long. So let me be a voice saying, you have things to say. You have experience. It will bless your stories. So put it in there. It's going to benefit you. Don't let this age thing stop you because you didn't start when you were a baby. No, because you were living your life. You were doing things. They're going to make your stories better. Your age is going to benefit you in this work. I really believe that. We're going to roll up the sleeves for this one because this is number 4. And I think this is the one that we forget I think when you see people discussing writing and why to write and why you do it, and here's the piece that we leave out, okay? You've decided you're ready, right? You have some time. You can find a little time. And you've realized you're not writing a book today. You're writing a tiny fragment, a segment. I think I almost called it a fragment, which would be a fragment mixed with a segment, which that could be a fun combination. I digress. You're ready. You know you can put a little bit into this, and you're at a place in your life where you can do some work. You know you're just writing a segment every day, right? Every few days, as much as you can. You realize that your age, whatever you're at right now, I was 40 when I sat down with this book that I actually published and put in the world, right? I'd been writing before that, but this is the one that went somewhere. So you're taking your life experience and you're saying it as the gift that it is. You're doing these things, right? These things are going to help you start. And this 4th thing, you're going to make it fun. What if we made it fun? What if we made it enjoyable? So we say to ourselves, instead of, I have to write this book and it's big and it's scary and it's heavy, what if we say, I have this story and I don't know how it plays out, but there's a wedding and maybe there's a father-in-law and maybe there's, I don't know, an older friend who's attending the wedding and sparks fly, but there's all these family dynamics that make it almost impossible. Take that, run with it. I don't know. It's fun, right? It's meant to be a good time. So here are some practical, tangible ways we can make this fun. Go on Pinterest. Make some pin boards. Holy moly, if that is not a good time that I have discovered later in life. My teenager, she has been in the Pinterest world since she was in middle school. That was also, I think, the only social media that she was allowed in middle school. So, you love what you're allowed to have. Love the one you're with, in the words of the Rolling Stones. So she did, but she loves Pinterest, and she tells me even now it's her favorite place to be. To be fair, she's also still fairly limited, but she's on Instagram and she's like, no. I'm here for this Pinterest world. It's fun. There's people and they are all shapes and sizes and colors and stages in life. And you put them in your book and you're like, you look kind of like who I'm thinking of for my character. And there's clothes and you're like, maybe you would wear these things. And there's, nostalgia and vintage. And maybe these are the things that your characters really loved when they were younger and they've forgotten that part of themselves. Or there's playlists you can find on there, which is going to take us to number 2. But get on Pinterest. Have fun with this. Just make some pin boards. You start clicking. They make it amazingly quick to just be like, oh, this. I personally like to look at my Pinterest board for each book I write before I ever start writing every single time. I just look at them and I'm like, there you are. There are your faces. There's your house, I imagine. There's the path you walk down when that moment happens where you finally kiss. It gets it going and it's a good time. Another part of let's make it fun, playlist. What music? Now, you don't have to even listen to the music when you write. I see a lot of writers, they need silence. I respect and I get that. I have become someone who enjoys listening to music because for me, it's like it sets a mood in my brain. Or in a weird way, if you remember The Bourne Identity, which is a movie I adored, whenever those agents get called, they're just like doing their life. And then the call comes in and they're like, boom, I got to go take care of some business, AKA unalive some people, which is intense. We're not talking about that. But it's the same mode of like, oh, no, this is my thing. This is what I'm going to sit down and do this. So I've got my playlist. You're welcome to ask if you'd like to have my playlist. I'd love to send them to you. But I have 3 books and they each have their own playlist. I'm on my 4th book. It has a big, beautiful 3-hour playlist. And I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as camp starts singing, I'm like, oh yeah, no, should I go sit down and write somewhere? Because this is my cue. My brain just got told it was time to write. And it makes it fun because you're like, what kind of music do these people like? What kind of music sets the vibe for the story I want to tell today? It's a good time, okay? So we have our Pinterest boards, we have our playlists, and then I fully believe in a writing routine that you can kind of slip into with something delicious to drink. I like a coffee these days. It used to be some hot tea. Maybe you like a little nibble. Maybe you have a little bit of nuts or some chocolate. To be fair, I don't, but I do reward myself with some chocolate after. And then you've got your space where you can work. Now, of course, a lot of the times you can't work in the space where you want to work, but make it cozy wherever you are. If that's in your bed, if that's, next to your like tiny kiddo who has had to come to bed with you and you're like, well, I guess I'm going to work for a little bit because you're here and I'm awake. Or you have a little office space, or even in your car, like you can get a little pad to put on your lap to make your typing a little friendlier. But make it pleasant for you, right? Light a candle, make the lights nice. You put your playlist on, you run your eyes over your Pinterest board. It's a good feeling to start writing. And that's what you're after, right? We're not writing because it's painful and tough and hard. We're writing because we have stories that excite us and we think someone else might want to read at some point, someday. We're not thinking about that, but someday they might. And we like it. It's fun. It's a good time. So let me just say again, 4th reason, make it fun. So quick review. We're going to figure out if we can write right now. And we're going to treat it with a real real sharp eye. We're not messing around. If we can do it, we're going to start the story. But number two, we're going to remind ourselves we're only writing a little bit at a time. So there's no pressure to come up with a book. We're just beginning a story, and we're going to add a little bit every day, okay? This whole I have to write a book, that's going to stop weighing us down. Number three, we are not too late. You are bringing so much good, juicy, lived life to this book. That's only still a story that we're just beginning, and it's going to be a gift yet again to anyone who you ever let read this book, but especially you, that you're starting now at whatever age you happen to be. Again, for me, over 40. You can do this. And number four, we are going to make it fun. We are not getting paid for this at this point. So if we are not having a good time doing it, what in the world are we doing with our lives? Now, it is not going to be a laughs a minute every day, all the time, but you know what I mean when you have some experience of writing and digging in and how satisfying it feels. And that's what we're going for. So we are going to set a scene that makes it fun for us, that gives us some satisfaction and pleasure while we do it. Because at the end of this, we will one day have a book. And we're not messing around anymore. All right? I know this. Again, this is not a horn tooting moment. This is not a horn tooting at all. This is I waited and I waited and I waited. And when I finally started, I found out I could do this, right? I could do this thing. And I am so delighted with myself that I did do this thing. There's no other way to say that. So friends, I'm here to encourage you in your later in life start to your creative endeavors. I'm speaking to writing because it's what I know. I think you could apply this to other things in life. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Are you a writer? Are you struggling to start? Do these make sense to you? Have you felt this way before? Like, let's chat about this. I'd love to hear where you are. If you could use some help or encouragement. I have nothing to sell. Oh, that's not true. I have these books to sell. These are all linked here on my bio. I would love if you went to Amazon. They are funny, sparkly, witty, modern romances. They have I like to think of like modern tones with like vintage vibes, right? So I think they're a great time. But beyond that, I'm really just here as your over 40 friend who is saying to you, lady, if I can start this, you can start this. So let me know what you're starting today, and let's stay in touch. Follow me here, and then find me in the other places, on the Instagram at Emily B. Riddle Writes, on the Substack. Would love to see you there. It's free, and it's fun, and it's funny, and I've got all kinds of book information you can grab. But stay in touch, and let's figure this life after 40, living our best rom-com lifestyle